Hello, this is Dead Hamster, and this will be Chapter 5 of the new tutorial series covering the new features available in the Tarmac editing kit. We're going to be looking today at the Textures tab for the course viewer. Loading up our course data here. Load first the FBX file. It's going to give us this message I had mentioned in the first one. We'll cover that in a bit more detail today. And then it's going to ask for our pop file, which we will select as well. So today we're going to be looking at the texture tab. Is the second one here. So it had mentioned that there was a texture that did not have a material. It didn't have a texture, rather. All the materials do need to have a texture or a bitmap, a image attached to them for the rendering of the material. If they don't, you aren't able to use that material in game. We don't currently yet support Garage shading, so that's not available as an option. So this first material is a default material that Max has when you import the scene. It's the materials that are applied to the cubes for the course objects and things like that. I'm not using this material in my scene, so it's okay that this one threw an error. If any of the materials that I was using did not have a texture, that would be a cause that of the level not compiling correctly, and that would be something you'd have to go back to fix in your original model and then re-export again to a new FBX file. Looking through, you could see the images are drawn up here of the texture, and then the options down below. So the width and height are not editable, of course. That's drawn from the image source. There are different modes that are available based on the N64's graphics settings. Mirroring will take the texture, instead of just repeating it every tile, it will take it and flip it, and then flip it again every time that it gets to the edge of a repeat. The clamp mode will take whatever pixel is on the very outside edge and stretch that out to infinity. It's very important that you set up your UV maps properly for these. If you're not sure what you're doing, you might want to stick to wrap mode. And then the last one would be mirrored clamp, which is a combination of both of those modes. It will mirror over once and then clamp out. This is used for doorways and frames, things like that. Scrolling is a constant per frame shift of the texture. For example, for water rolling down a river, or for arrows scrolling across a screen, you would use the shift, the scroll values. The S scroll would move it horizontally, and the T scroll vertically. Same with the wraps. The S mode and the T mode is for horizontal and vertical. S horizontal, T vertical. The alpha has transparent or opaque. Translucent does work on emulator, but if you play it on console, the geometry won't render. It's recommended not to use that. Double-sided will cause the texture to be drawn on both sides. Without that checked, it'll only be the front-facing polygons that are drawn. The vert alpha is used alongside translucency. If you set an alpha to translucent, this is how translucent the texture is. The codec is for the texture type. Right now, the CI textures don't work properly. I wouldn't use those. IA may work, but I wouldn't use those either. I don't believe that the alpha is being drawn properly. Right now, the only support we have truly is for RGBA 16. So that would be the only format I would stick to. Last setting is the screen. So I'm going to select screen 1 and the screen 1. And then again for my second screen, which would be, it's kind of hard to see, but again they went 1, 2, 3, actually turn, there we go. So our screens went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I need to match the numbers to this value here. So screen 2 is going to be 2, screen 3, 3, 4, 4, and so on. And that will assign in game the code to update those textures with the data from the screen, the camera being drawn instead. So those are the options for the textures. You can set those for each one individually. If you need to have different options for different materials, like you want to have one sign that scrolls and another sign that is static, you would need to create two separate materials with two separate image files, and then export that back out in an FBX file. The materials are shared across all objects in a scene, so you can't set scroll values for one object and not for another. That should cover everything though. In the next chapter, chapter 6, we'll be covering the section tab and how to set up your section view and select which objects will be drawn depending on where you are in the level. Until next time, as always, you guys take care.